You're knowing what you are wanting. It evolves, doesn't it? You like the feeling of desire? If you say yes, and 2 of you did, then that must mean, it does mean, that you believe that your desire is possible. You believe that the full manifestation of it is happening. If a desire doesn't feel good to you, then that's because you are focused sometimes on what you want and sometimes on the slowness of it or the absence of it. And so you're introducing resistance into your vibrational mix. And when you introduce resistance into your vibrational mix, I want it, but I don't have it, or I want it, but it is difficult, or I want it, but I've wanted it such a long time and it has not been coming, or I want it, but I'm not certain if I should want it, or I think I want it, but I'm not sure if I want that instead. In other words, there are things that you think that are in contradiction to your desires, and when you carve out those thought pathways, a thought pathway this way, a thought pathway that way, then you introduce unnecessary resistance and hindrance into your equation. Mostly what you do, better said, the way to describe what you are doing in better words, is that your desire is a vibrational frequency, and your beliefs about that desire are also vibrational frequencies. And if the vibrational frequency of your belief and your desire are in the same place, then there's no hindrance. The circuits are wide open. It's smooth going. Circumstances and events, cooperative components are easily brought to you and you to them. But if you are thinking in contradiction to your own desire, which humans do a lot, because you are mostly looking at what is, as if the manifestation holds more importance than the creation that is underway. What is already manifested in your experience, and by that we mean, because you usually mean, the car that's in the garage and the people who are in your life and the way your life has already unfolded, the manifestations, the things you can see and hear and smell and taste and touch. Those manifestations, if they are pleasing to you, then you're usually not offering resistance. But if you are aware of what is and what isn't pleasing to you, well, then you introduce resistance. So vibration equals your point of attraction. And your point of attraction, meaning you offer a frequency that the law of attraction matches with cooperative components. And so if you're focused upon not enough money, then what keeps matching up with you are circumstances and events that match that. If you feel prosperous, if you can isolate one area of your life where you feel particularly prosperous, where you feel particularly blessed, and you focus upon that subject that causes you to feel that way, then the thought, with the feeling indicating it, means that you're in a place of letting in what you're asking for. But if you don't feel blessed, if you're finding that reason to complain or that reason to argue for your limitations, then those thoughts, those practice thoughts, those thoughts that often you continue to think, those thoughts that because you continue to think them, we call them beliefs, those beliefs hold you in a holding pattern of resistance, so that even though you're asking, you're resisting, and you're asking and you're resisting. And that sort of push and pull causes tension and stress within you. What we're really getting at with this very brief segment that we want to present in a way that you can really hear it and feel it, what we're really getting at is that what is your biggest hindrance to what is becoming. Because sometimes what is contains things you don't want to continue, and sometimes what is missing things you do want. So if you are mostly doing mostly what most of you mostly do, which is offer most of your vibration in response to what you are observing, then you are introducing unnecessary resistance into the equation. And as we are visiting here today, You can sort some of that out. We know you'll find some clarity about it. Do you believe that you are the creator of your own reality? Yes. Do you believe that therefore you are the attractor of it? Yes. And so as you are a vibrational offerer and therefore a vibrational asker and then a vibrational getter, our question to you is, are you getting what you want? And if you say sometimes or no, then what you are experiencing is sometimes being in the receiving mode of something either less than you want or in the receiving mode of flat out things you don't want, which means, oh, it's so simple once you put it this way. It means you have, maybe by default, maybe unconsciously, meaning you're not aware of what you're thinking, you just sort of do it out of habit. Do you ever do that? Do you ever just do things out of habit rather than thinking about them? If you're just doing it out of habit, then you may very well be carving out thought pathways to unwanted things. And what's so interesting is how you've been thinking those thoughts, you talk about them with your friends, you think those thoughts, you watch the television programs that support those thoughts, you think those thoughts, you think those thoughts, you think those thoughts, you think those thoughts until they are chronic within you. They are full-blown beliefs about things you don't want, and then you're surprised when they come to you. So that's why we ask the question, do you believe that you create your own reality? And if you do, then don't you sort of kind of want to carve out more deliberate thought pathways? Don't you want to make the things you want able to find you more easily? Don't you want to light up about that rather than about the opposite? Which makes us want to ask you another question. What influence are you under? Are you under the influence of your inner being? Because if you are, then you want to feel good and mostly do, and therefore are in the place of opening thought pathways to what you want. But if you're under the influence of what is, of how it is, of something that's bothering you, then we get it. It feels logical that you ought to be able to point out that something is really screwy about that. And you certainly can. Just don't make it your life pattern. Point it out and then take the bounce, because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. So you could very well say, I don't want that. I sure don't want that. I really, really don't like that. That is disgusting to me in all of these ways. I don't want that. Throw a fit, but don't let it last too long. I don't want that. And in that, knowing what you don't want, you are launching rockets of desires about what you do want, because every subject is two subjects. And the intensity with which you don't want something is the same intensity with which you do want what's on the other end of that stick. So you are launching lots of rockets of desires. And as you are launching those rockets of desires, this vibrational frequency, this vibrational pattern, this vibrational streaming, this vibrational carving out of what you want is gathered for you by the larger part of you, the inner being part of you, the source energy part of you, the part of you that was you before you even knew that you were you, the part of you that still is mostly you, the mostly biggest part of you, even though you now know that you are you. That inner being part of you that remains non-physical, when you launch those rockets of desire, your inner being focuses upon your request and vibrationally becomes it. And that matters. That's such a big statement. That's such a big concept to understand. That's such a big part of your creative experience, because when you sift through this life experience like you said you would, and you come to your conclusions about what you don't want and therefore what you do want, and your preference is lobbed vibrationally into the ethers of this universe, your inner being focuses unequivocally on that end of the stick. Your inner being holds no resistance on your behalf. Your inner being believes never, never, never that you can't do it or that you can't have it. Once you carve it out, once you isolate it, once you identify it, and once you launch the rocket of it, which you're doing all day, every day, your inner being becomes the vibrational equivalent of what you've asked for. And when that happens, then on your behalf, a huge vortex of attraction begins to happen on your behalf as cooperative components are gathered in the beginning phases of the creation of what you have asked for, and all of its subtle nuances that you keep carving out all day, every day. Oh, it's huge. It's so big, and it is so wonderful, and it is what the expansion of the universe is all about. So there it is. It exists. Your creation is born and is nurtured and is growing and is becoming and is gathering the cooperative components. The only question then is, where are you in relationship to it? If you're frisky and happy and feeling really good, then your vibrational frequency is about that. And there's not much resistance in your experience, in your equation. And then it's likely that every day, many moments of the day, you will receive impulses, feelings to move and act, impulses to think about things. You'll be in on the juicy, deliberate, delicious unfolding of your own creation. You get to then be a witness to what you have set into motion, what your inner being has carried a good way, 99% of the way, in fact, what your inner being has carried a good way for you. And now your only work, step 1 happened, you asked. Step 2 happened, all of that we just described. Step 3 is you got to be in the receiving mode of that, not in the receiving mode of more of the absence of it. And how do you know when you're in the receiving mode? You feel good. You feel satisfied. You feel eager about it. How do you know when you're not? How do you know when you're opposing your own desire? Not just your desire. Think about how much has happened that you're opposing. You're not just opposing a simple little idea of something. Oh, I thought I wanted it, but it's not like that. You're opposing the entire universal forces that are orchestrating on your behalf. You're opposing something so big, and that's why you feel so bad when you do it. Now you know everything we know that matters. Now you have the operating tools to create your own reality in the way that you want it to be. We're eager to visit with you, to co-create with you, to fill in any gaps in what you understand, to take thought beyond what it has ever been before. We're eager for this day with you. What do you want to talk about? It's going to be a really good day.